welcome to the Say What YouTube video. Changed it up because we hadn't ordered our new stuff
Podcast.
yet. Getting there.
You know what's crazy is we're starting this YouTube video podcast.
Yeah.
I've had some folks that have been reaching out to me because they realized you punked me. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to do a podcast, and then you said, "Oh yeah," and so then this
Well, we
was
didn't
like
have
supposed
the
to be,
stuff.
and then you were like, "No, it's cool because we're gonna video it, and then people can download it, and it's a podcast too." That's what I went along with because people are like, "How did you not know it was on a podcast?" I subscribe to podcasts. I know what podcasts are. I go to iTunes, but I had let you talk me into this thing that I thought was like a hybrid.
Well, we didn't have
It was not.
the capabilities.
But
yet.
now, and we still don't because we would be doing a podcast, but you
Yeah.
don't have it worked out yet.
No, it's working. It's on its way. We're working on it. It'll be done in the near future.
Riley Clem, you heard it here first, man. I'm not making this stuff up. Riley's always tweeting at me, wanting me to know you being mean to me. And now that he plays basketball, we're brothers on the court. But say what? Video. What is it? YouTube
video.
We need YouTube subscribers,
Yeah, we did.
like Jake Paul and them boys.
Yeah, we got like
Right?
100 and something.
We need like 100 million.
Well, yeah, I'd be ideal.
Yeah. So listen, tell everybody, because hey, we're moving over to podcast. This YouTube channel probably be obsolete for long
Yeah.
unless we get enough subscribers.
Yeah, no one.
Then we'll do both.
We'll just do random.
Then
videos.
if we got enough, we wouldn't even have to do anything else. We would just do YouTube videos,
Yeah.
like for life, like
Yeah,
every
well.
day, like wake up with a camera in our face.
That's how some of them live.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to have more than 100.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need you guys down at the Clem's out there in Rockwood. You need to be going to everybody saying, "Have just everybody subscribe to this channel." Everybody over here at Kingston, all my folks down here at Kingston, everybody needs to subscribe to this channel. Harriman, Morgan
Lenore
County,
City.
Lenore City, you know,
Subscribe.
Knoxville. Put this thing on lock. We're giving you nuggets here, man. If we got enough, we can like take it from behind the desk and like go out with it.
Yeah. Don't have to sit in this spot every time.
Like how many subscribers would we need for that?
A lot more than 100.
Like 1,000?
No, probably like 100,000.
100,000.
Yeah, probably.
Oh God.
1,000's not much.
But if we got 1,000 here, they could easily turn into 100,000.
Yeah. Because then they would share it and tell
Because
it.
if those 1,000 people actually knew another 100 people, that's 100,000.
Done.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
So easy to be a YouTube star.
Yeah.
We just did it.
We cracked it.
Cracked the case.
You had your sermon this week.
Yeah.
It was a really good sermon on distractions.
First of all, distraction. Distraction was this. We were starting this little episode here, and you let it be known you didn't know who Mary Poppins was.
I didn't say I didn't know who Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. You don't even know
I
who
didn't.
she is.
No, I don't know much about her.
Chimney.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I know she had an umbrella that she like floated around with.
And the only reason you know that is because you watched another movie that had Walt Disney in it, and he was creating Mary Poppins with an umbrella. That's the only reason you know that.
That is correct.
But like she came floating in, took care of the kids,
See,
and they did
I don't know.
they did sidewalk chalk before sidewalk chalk was like real, like for us, like, and then they would draw these pictures of sidewalk chalk and then jump in the picture and live it out. Yeah.
Never
Yeah,
heard
man.
of it. Didn't know.
Spoonful of sugar. You had no idea what we were talking about a few minutes ago.
No, him and JT were just singing a song about
It
sugar.
helps the medicine go down
I had no idea what they were talking about.
in the most delightful way.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the reference.
Yeah, I know. You know, I'm breaking out like super fragile, like, yeah, expialidocious. You don't even know nothing about that.
That's from Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, I don't have to say it like that.
You do.
Mary Poppins.
Yes.
I gotta say it like that every time.
That's it.
Alright, I got you.
Poppins.
Look,
That's
we're
her.
getting distracted right now.
Yes, but this is important to know. If we're gonna be like YouTube stars, people need to know this.
No, they don't know Mary Poppins. I feel like the younger generation probably doesn't know who she is.
Now I've got a whole new reason to be a YouTube star. I need to teach people who Mary Poppins is.
Did she do? We can get you an umbrella.
They got on a carousel one time, and then it came off, and they ended up in a race.
Do what?
Yeah.
On the carousel?
Yes. And won.
The horses came to life? Or-
Yes. It was amazing.
It was like a TV show, I guess.
It's a movie.
So all this happened in one movie?
One movie. Mm-hmm.
There's only one Mary Poppins movie?
Yes. The one. You do it right the first time. You ain't got to do it
I
again.
didn't know. I didn't know. No, I know. I guess.
All right, let's go. Here we go.
All right. You had your sermon this Sunday on
Yeah.
distractions.
Yes.
It was very, very good.
Thanks.
I had tons of compliments, and I don't know if you got to see it. If you did not, you need to check it out on our website. Just go, you can click on it and watch it.
I love mygrove.com.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. It touched so many different people because it was a lot of different aspects to that sermon. And I've had a lot of comments from different people just talking to them about how that sermon impacted them, and man, it was just really good. So first off, good job.
Well, thank you. It's funny because it did hit a bunch of folks, and I started this sermon last week and then finished it this week.
Yeah.
But even last week, you were gone, but I said, listen, this sermon is not about any one person. I'm not writing this sermon for anybody, because once I started preaching, I realized how personal it was and how far-reaching it is. And sometimes people sit in church and they go, oh, he's talking to me, or he knows something about me, or he's thinking about me. That's not how we approach it. And you know that a sermon's on when there's multiple people that think that, right? So, I mean, as soon as I was done Sunday, I had some folks in my face going, we know who you were preaching about. And it was like, no, you don't. Because I was just preaching.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody, I'm preaching about me. And then I had several people that day that would say something like, I felt like you were preaching at me. Not in a negative way.
Yeah.
I had a guy sitting in my office today. He said, I know you say you're not preaching to anybody, but I'm just telling you, man, I feel like it's me.
I had 4 different people since Sunday say, man, that message, I felt like he was talking directly to me.
I know.
And in a good way, like.
Yeah, and it's awkward because, you feel like people might get mad because you kind of like Paul in 1 Corinthians, in 2 Corinthians, he's like, I was kind of worried that I was too hard on you. But then I realized, no, you repented, so it wasn't too hard on you. So sometimes when you bring a word like this past Sunday, it's good when it affects everybody. At the same time, man, for a pastor, this sometimes the hardest day for a pastor is Monday because you second guess everything that you said.
Yeah.
But it was timely, it was needed. We talked about distractions. It's something that affects everybody. So.
And it was a perfect time as far as Easter's coming up, right? We got 2 weeks. This Sunday and the next Sunday is Easter. And just trying to get rid of all distractions in your life heading into Easter.
Well, Easter is a big day for all believers. It's the greatest day in the history of the church and for the world. So, number one, we don't want to be distracted from that and miss it. I mean, think about it. I said this on Sunday, but on most Easters, church is not the primary focus. We say it is, it's not. You got clothes that you got to get. You got the new outfits.
Then you got to every year.
So then you got to get with everybody on which service is the best one to go to. You got to figure out who's going to where, at what lunch, and where you going to. Who's bringing what? Who's making the deviled eggs? Who's getting the ham? We got to dye the Easter eggs. Little girl's got to have her new hat. You got all this stuff, and then we squeeze the story of the crucifixion and resurrection in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're already distracted. It all comes down to Sunday night, Easter Sunday, at 7 o'clock, posting your Easter outfit family picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's Easter. And that's not it. So we started down that line and started talking about distraction. And then for us too, not just that, but we do another angle to that is we talk about giving. And we got a $150,000 offering that we want to take on Easter Sunday. And hopefully we exceed that. We've done this for 5 years now. But every Easter we give hundreds of thousands of dollars to the goal of the Bible, which is missions. It's our Easter offering, and it puts the church on mission in a lot of different ways. I don't want people to be distracted from that either. I want you to be able to give. And so whether you're tapping into your income tax and giving from that, or your refund, or you're giving just from your heart, you've got extra income, you sold something. We want to not be distracted from that because it's so easy. You can say, well, what do they do with that money, or they do this? So distractions happen. And
you take your eyes off the goal, off the ultimate prize of what we're trying to accomplish here, and it's to reach people for Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And when people get distracted, what are they doing with that? Where are they going here? All these different distractions, it takes your mind off the prize, off the goal, and that's reaching people. Mm-hmm. And so that sermon, it was just timely, and it was perfect for what we're trying to get done.
And so ultimately it ends up distractions about life.
Yeah.
So Easter, offering, you.
Yeah.
That's where we ended up.
And I mean, distractions, it's all over the place, man. You talked about distractions of life, but when you're going through life, there's all kinds of things that pop up, right? Constantly, on a daily basis, in your relationships, with your emotions, all these different things. So it was super good. And the first thing you talked about was distractions with your relationships.
Yeah. So distractions come in many different forms. The Bible talks about being distracted in 2 Peter, right? 2 Peter chapter 1. In fact, the Bible calls it like this. It says that the goal of the Christian life is to walk in the divine nature of Christ, that you should look more like Him from the beginning, from where you were in the beginning to where you are now. You should progress in looking more like Him today than then. And then it says that it's easy to pick back up the corrupt nature, and I'm paraphrasing, but you begin to look more like the old me than the new me. You're not walking in the divine nature, walking in the old corrupt me. And he uses these words. He says, for those that are not walking in the understanding of these natures, these characteristics, are short-sighted and blind, forgetting their forgiveness of their former sins, and their calling and choosing of you through salvation. And so it's easy to get distracted, forget that you were saved from your sin, that God give you a purpose in your calling, and that salvation comes by Him. You forget that. Then you start to make short-sighted, blind decisions. You make decisions based on your distractions rather than the final result. If I know this is what God wants to do in my life, then I'm not going to act a certain way right now. If I know, you see ladies do this sometimes. If they know they're getting married and they know they've got a size 8 dress, and they're trying to lose weight, and they know the wedding day's coming, guess what? They don't eat the Oreos every night before they go to bed. They don't do this because why? They've got a dress, they have to fit in, they know, and so they make decisions based on that final result. The Christian believer has to be the same way. The problem is we get distracted. And so now we're distracted. I've forgotten my calling, what I'm here for. I've forgotten that God has set me free from the sins that I previously committed. And now, because I'm short-sighted, I'm not worried about where I'm headed. I'm not worried about what decisions have to be made to protect that. The old me starts showing back up, whether it's my mouth, it's my attitude, it's my anger, all these things. I start looking like the old me again, all because I became short-sighted and distracted. So what we did is we talked about, and for the sake of this YouTube episode, we talked about the 4 things that lead to those distractions. And you can watch the whole sermon, the past 2, watch them all. But the first one was your relationships.
Yeah.
And I talked about protecting your relationship. You have to. I was reading again today. I was just reading while I was waiting on a couple of things, but I was reading online, and a guy put together like a top list of things that distract you in life. And like number 2 and number 3 was relationships. Relationships can be such a distraction. Right? If you're going through a hard relationship and you're heartbroken, it's a distraction. So now you you ever heard of somebody making a bad decision on a rebound?
Mm-hmm.
You know, where'd you meet that on the rebound? Why would you do that? Because you're having a hard go in your relationship. So you're not thinking long term. You're not thinking don't do this to yourself. You're not thinking don't hurt yourself more. You're thinking of instant gratification. And it's called, we give it a name, the rebound, right? So that's relationships. There's some of us, man, and I was honest about this, is if you don't protect yourself from who you're listening to is more important than who you're talking to. So I got this whole list of people that I'm talking to. That's great. But who I'm listening to is really where it's at. I had a guy tell me one time, it wasn't as important to be the king as it was as important to be the best friend to the king.
Mm-hmm. He
said, I can get more done by being the best friend than if I'm actually the guy himself. Meaning this, it doesn't matter who's at the top. If I'm best friend with him, I can get in his ear. If I can get in his ear, I can get anything I want. And people have to realize that we have got people, we make friends. This is what's so crazy about the human mind. We are so trusting, we don't realize the impact that people have on our lives. You can make one new friend, a whole bunch of new friends, and they will reshape your whole life. That's why, some of us have had best friends or whatever that we used to hang out with all the time, and then once they start dating somebody, you never see them again. Yeah. Like, where did you go, bro? I don't have that happen a lot now. Most of my friends are married, but when I was in college, we used to have it all the time. Yeah. And we were boys, and then all of a sudden he just started calling, texting, playing NCAA football. That's what we used to play. He starts playing it. What? He's out with his homegirl, and you don't see him. and he changes. It's relationships. And so we have got to protect ourselves from. There's people that don't like me, not because they don't like me, but because the people they're friends with don't like me, so they assume they don't like me either. Mm-hmm. I have people that I have problems with because they become short-sighted, forgot where they were going, and cut their nose off about their face, and it all comes down to relationships. And so I do say this to you. You could be distracted today by a relationship. You could be distracted because of the pain of a relationship. You're divorced, broken, left. You're distracted. You got a son that's an addict. You're distracted. You got new friends in your ears. It's creating hardships between you and people that you have no business not liking them. You have no business having a problem. You have no beef with them, but now you have a beef with them because somebody else had a beef with them. This is a time to step back and go, what is happening to me? Why am I so short-sighted? And then let God work in that. So relationships is a huge, huge distraction. You got to be careful, protect yourself from that.
Mm-hmm. And then the second one you were talking about was emotions.
Oh, man.
Been distracted through your emotions.
Never.
Yeah.
You never
make a bad decision because...
Never. Emotions are so strong, man. Again, you check this out on the message, but the Bible says, be angry and sin not. And I use that one a lot, but anger is such a major, major deal that it's an emotion. And the enemy will use it. You know, one of the things that I said is about your emotions is the enemy, Satan preys on angry hearts. All right? How many of us have heard stuff said to us because somebody got mad and wished you'd never heard it? Right? Mm-hmm. How many times have you ever said these words, I wish I could take it back? But you can't. That's an emotion. You get distracted in the moment, and you do something that you shouldn't do. You just get distracted. Excitement. You ever made a promise in excitement?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I do it all the time. That's why I'm so dangerous on mission field. Yeah, you know, Drew used to, he would have to have these conversations with me. And you know Drew. Drew's not very confrontational at all. He's just not. I don't care what you may think about him. He's not confrontational. But he would try to confront me before we get off a plane or a bus or whatever, which was, don't make promises. Just talk to me before. Because what happens to me is, I get in a moment, somebody's hungry, they don't have clothes, they're, you know, just struggling, and I'm like, we'll fix it. Yes. I mean, I give my shirt away, that's true. I give money away. I'll make promises. And sometimes he's like, you're making a promise that I'm going to have to keep. And I'm like, yeah, yes, you can do that. And you end up letting people down. Or you commit to something that you shouldn't have. So emotions, and there's a whole gamut of emotions in there too. Yeah.
I heard on your first mission trip to Haiti that you bought food for everybody that you saw.
Every day. There's only one cafe where we were. And I just didn't think it was fair that these people were walking back and they didn't have lunch, they didn't have anything. And when I'm about to sit down and eat this whole big thing of pate, or whatever it was called, and I would just go around the room and go, y'all hungry? And I go, all right, you getting one. No. I'm like, yeah, you get one, because then they were running a tab, so I didn't have to pay that day.
Yeah,
so I ran that tab all week, and then Drew got the bill. Yeah, he about killed me that time. That was several $100.
There's like 3 or 4 people on this mission trip, and they spent way more than we spend on a normal mission trip now.
Ever. I bought barbecue, I bought rolls, I bought sandwiches, I bought whatever. You know, we just did it all, and you know, that's exactly how we worked it out.
It was awesome though.
Yeah, man.
The next distraction you were talking about is like through pain and tragic events. When something bad happens in your life, it gets you distracted.
It's very difficult because what will happen is your pain in your life will reshape your whole life. And some people have a hard time trusting. Some people have a hard time dealing with their future because of what they've been through. And so right now, you know, the emotion, the distraction that you have is the fact that you can't build a relationship, you don't trust. And that pain, until you deal with it, it's going to be a distraction. Mm-hmm. So you want to remarry, you can't. You want to be close to somebody, you're afraid they'll die. You stay up all night worrying about this and that. Pain and tragic events will become a distraction to you. And it changes the way that you behave, and it changes the way you interact with people and how you invest your life in them. So now you walled up because something bad happened to you.
Yeah. And then this last one you were talking about is one of my favorites because I want people to see the end result so bad, and it's the failure to see the future.
Failure to see the future, and I think we all buy into this here, whether you live in West Knoxville or you live in Roane County. One of the hardest things to do is to get people to see it before they see it. And the failure to see the future will cause you to throw off restraint. I made the statement is, had I known at almost age 40 now, had I known at age 20 what I know at 40, I'd have changed my eating habits.
Yeah.
Not that I'm completely just terrible here. I'm fine. At the same time, what I know at age 40 is it's so much harder to get it off of you than I did at 20. I just didn't see the future. I didn't care. I ate M&M peanuts. I ate bean burritos. I ate whatever I wanted. Right? Pizza. Stay up late. The point is if you don't start with the end in mind, you're going to end up making distracted decisions. And there's so many people, they fail to see the future. And so in their marriage, they get distracted because they can't see a future with that person. In their workplace, they can't see a future. At church, they get aggravated with somebody. They can't see a future, so they leave their church, they leave their small group, they leave whatever. And the real issue here is what you've done is you've taken for granted. Mm-hmm. You've taken for granted the blessings that God's given you. You're taking for granted the great things around it. And my whole thing on Sunday was, what if it ceased to be? You fussing about her at home all the time? What about the day that you walk in there and she's moved out? You're fussing about that son or daughter you've had to take care of and their smart mouth and all this other kind of stuff. I understand, but you're so distracted by the way they're acting right now. What happens when they move away and they never want to come back? What happens when their relationship isn't there? God forbid something happen and they lose their life. And so one of the most sobering things you can do to kind of get the long-range view is stop being distracted on what you can't see and begin to put yourself at the end and enjoy every single day. And I made a statement that said one of the problems is you can't get there because you've never lost it. If you lose something, you know what it's like to have it back. But you can take it for granted if you've never lost it because you've never lived without it. Mm-hmm. So, failure to see, and it is a great point, it was.
When you start getting distracted, then you will lose it. You won't know that pain.
You will, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
There's always going to be distractions in your life, and stuff's going to pop up. Mm-hmm. It's about avoiding those distractions and getting through those without veering off too much, you know?
Well, the problem is he goes on and says that when you walk that way short-sighted and blind and you're distracted, you will stumble. Mm. So whether it's an emotional, you fire up mad and you blow it, distracted, and make a decision, you're going to stumble because maybe you get yourself arrested. Maybe you do something that you live forever with because you lost your temper. Maybe it's in a relationship and you know what, you get mad at him or her or whatever, and so you're done with them and you're going to show them, so you walk away. Now you have to live the rest of your life without them. Why? Because you got distracted, because you couldn't see. Number 4, you couldn't see the future. Mm-hmm. So you got all emotional in this thing, and now here you are because you were in pain. Number 3, so you make a decision. So you're going to stumble. So now you spend the rest of your life with heartbreak, anger, upset, whatever, because you were so short-sighted.
Yep. Good sermon,
it was great, man.
This week, starting the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
On our Easter series.
Benjamin Franklin says this: for the want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For the want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For the want of a horse, the rider was lost. For the want of a rider, the battle was lost. For the want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. And all of that was for the want of a nail. The truth is you've only got so many nails. How are you going to use them? And if you don't use your nails to hold the shoes on the horse, to get the horse to the rider, to get the rider in the battle, so that you can win the battle for the kingdom, then you're wasting it. The butterfly effect. There's many of us walking around with the nails in our pockets, meaning financially, meaning effort, meaning whatever. Will you use those to set off a chain of events that forever changes eternity? I can tell you for the past 6 years that we've been doing this. On Sunday, Easter Sunday, I will celebrate my 6th year as a senior pastor here. We have been just absolutely changing lives in Roane County and across the world. And we're going to continue to do that this year with our Easter offering.
Absolutely.
It's going to be good, man. Butterfly effect.
All right, join us. Subscribe to this video. You 100 and something subscribers.
100,000.
Nope, not yet. We're
Mary
getting there.
Poppins.
Mary Poppins. All right, I'll see you Sunday 9:30 or 11. Sunday school at 9:30 11 as well.
Yep. See you.